I'm Shannon Weber with HIVE, a hub of positive sexual and reproductive health.
And I'm Linda Scruggs with Ribbon Consulting Group, a woman diagnosed with AIDS.
Thank you so much for doing this, Linda.
You're
such a beautiful human being. This is making me so happy to be able to talk with you about your story. So a lot of times women can struggle with the idea of talking about their HIV status with others. Can you talk about what that's been like for you?
Well, I think HIV disclosure and HIV status is kind of the unpacking of the journey. Mm-hmm. And I think when many women get diagnosed with HIV, one of the early things I think many of us have to do is decide, do we disclose, how we disclose, and why are we disclosing? Mm-hmm. For me, it really was a process of healing. HIV wasn't the first bad thing that happened in my life. So disclosing HIV also meant disclosing some other hurts, some other broken areas in my life, and how did that impact HIV? So I think disclosure really is around who were the people that I wanted to give this gift to, and that I could trust with my stuff first on. That I wanted people, I didn't want to live this by myself. So my first disclosure was around who did I trust with my stuff, that would know how to handle and know what to do with this gift that I would give them, because it still was very scary early on.
So when you talk about the disclosure being the unpacking of your journey, it doesn't all happen in one day or with one disclosure.
I was diagnosed in 1990, November the 21st. It's still a process.
Still.
I am very public. I wear buttons, I wear shirts, but there's still times and places where folks don't know. And I do have to say it. And sometimes I forget to say it. Because I do think everybody knows. And I still get people looking like, oh, I didn't know. Or the questions are like, well, what did you do? So it is a journey. And I wish I could say there was an end point. I think the cure would be the end point. Because then I won't have to say it.
What's something that surprised you in a good way about your journey, this unpacking journey, and telling people?
I think what surprised me was that when I started dating, after I had a practice husband when I first was diagnosed, but when I got back in the dating field, that it wasn't the issue that I thought. I had perceived that stigma around men and dating was going to be much greater than it was. And I love dating. I'm married now, but disclosing for me with dating was important. It was so important. I usually disclose like the first date because I already know what hurt and disappointment feel like. That I wasn't emotionally connected with folks, but I wanted to know where was their thoughts around this conversation. And I love to tell folks that I never but once had a man say, no, I couldn't do this. But then the great part of that is he called me like 2 days later and said, if you're that open and you're telling me what you know, we got to that sexual place that he felt that he could trust me to make sure that I kept him safe as a person not living with HIV.
There's something about honesty and vulnerability that's so attractive, not just sexually, but that brings us closer to people.
Yeah, because it wasn't that we was going to have sex, and he said it when we get to that place. And it is a vulnerable moment to put it out there, because you don't know what your first date going to do with it. But at the same time, I guess for me, it was also, HIV wasn't the secret I could keep any longer. Coming from a place where there were secrets and trauma and other experiences, I didn't want to be burdened down with one more thing. HIV gave me a lens to look at, you have to find a healing process, I was tired of being sad. I was tired of being hurt. So disclosure is very selfish, because actually more and more I found myself telling people, the more and more I felt free. Because even if I didn't tell them, somebody would tell them, or they would see something, So it was less of an issue of me having to sit down and say the words. Plus also, I have 2 sons, It was creating a space that HIV and AIDS was okay for them, regardless of what they heard in the community, what they heard in the schools, but also creating a place when I'm talking about sexual health with them, that it's not something I said, it's something I didn't do, and it's something I need you to do, to not sit in the same seat.
It's beautiful.
So it was a gift also to my sons, for them to know and understand that you know, HIV is real and it's, you know, treatable and all those things, but it's also very preventable. So it really was a gift as a mother, teaching my sons that was, and my nieces and nephews.
If someone was watching this video and they're thinking, boy, I would like that feeling of freedom, or to unpack and go on that healing journey, do you have a suggestion of a way or a place that someone can practice disclosing?
I think in the mirror. I mean, you know, we say public speaking, you know, sometimes saying it out loud to ourselves. I didn't like first time step on a stage and say this. I had to say it out loud to me. And I remember even leaving my diagnosis like, oh my God, not why me? You know, because I knew why, because I had unprotected sex. I knew why and how, but it really was learning to say out loud, I'm a woman diagnosed with HIV. I'm not HIV, I'm not AIDS, and I actually have an AIDS diagnosis. I'm neither one of them. I'm Linda, you know, but saying it out loud till it didn't sound bad to me.
And it became part of your words and your...
It becomes real. You know, it is a small piece of my everyday life, you know. Managing HIV, I mean, there's so many other things that go along with Linda. HIV is just one piece of me being whole, me being healed, and me just really feeling good in this world. You know, this one life you have to live kind of experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your vulnerability and transparency is such an inspiration. It's healing for all of us.
Well, you know, I think all of us come with brokenness. I don't know an unbroken, unflawed, that perfect person. We kind of sometimes think, and we look at other people and think that, but I think all of us have experienced somewhere where we can heal. And just for me, HIV was that intersection where I determined that.
Portal.
It was it was the unwelcome gift, and it's still unwelcome. But I turned it into, you know, what I say, take lemons and make lemonade. I made lemonade out of this unwelcome visitor in my life, and hope to share that. You know, it's a picture that never stopped pouring to be able to share that with other men and women. Thank you.